Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro led a gathering with leadership of the Socialist United Party of Venezuela and the Great Patriotic Pool and addressed the consolidation of the ruling party victory in face of the extreme far right in the country. In Colombia, the National Liberation Army announced the end of the armed strike in the department of Choco in the northwest of the nation. And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken state negotiations between Hamas and Zionism are heading to failure. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll be with the news. Stay with us. Have shown confidence in his government to guarantee peace and stability. Maduro also highlighted the importance of militants' efforts to combat violent strategies of right and cyber-fascism, and also made a reference to recently Israel law against fascism and neo-Nazism in the nation. In this way, the head of state assured the Bolivarian revolution continues moving forwards in the face of adversity.
An entire country that trusts that we will continue to be the governing force that guarantees the peace of this country, that guarantees independence, stability, that guarantees the validity of the Constitution, of the law, of order, of social cohesion, of political cohesion, of territorial integrity, of the sovereignty of the nation. We are the greatest force of guarantees for a country, for a people.
Also in Venezuela, the Justice of the Electoral Chamber of the Supreme Court of Justice, together with a group of international observers, visit the headquarters of the National Electoral Council to begin the validation of the samples of physical transcribed minutes for the progress of the investigations of the continuous electoral appeal.
The Justices of the Electoral Chamber of the Supreme Court of Justice, headed by the President of the Judiciary, Carislia Rodriguez, and the Justice Fanny Marquez and Inocencio Figueroa, accompanied by the experts and international observers who are witnesses in the investigation process of the contentious appeal filed by President Nicolas Maduro, arrived at the main headquarters of the electoral power in Caracas, Venezuela. This after the Supreme Court of Justice informed that once the process of transcription of the representative samples of the tally sheets submitted by the National Electoral Council is finished, they will proceed to the validation of the tally sheets. The Justices were guided to the data center where the entire technological infrastructure of the National Totalization Center number 1 of the National Electoral Council is located. In this space, the servers of the National Electoral Council operates. This is what is called by the Electoral National Council authorities as the electoral bubble, a restricted security area that protects all the technological infrastructure of National Totalization Center number 1 of the National Electoral Council. The authorities also toured the management area of the Totalization Center where the justices, experts, and international observers will validate the physical tally sheets coincide with the digital ones and will verify that the results are correct. The technical specialists of the National Electoral Council manage the platform to support the verification process of the experts of the Supreme Court of Justice. This is where all the tally sheets transmitted by the voting machines are received and where the process of reception of the same is done. Once they pass all the security protocols and are proceeded and totalized, this procedure is carried out in this room in the management area of the Totalization Center number 1 of the National Electoral Council. The act was observed in real time by the witnesses of the different political organizations that participate in the electoral event of the last July 28. With today's verification, the Electoral Chamber of the Supreme Court of Justice closes the cycle to verify that the tally sheets that were transcribed in phase 1 of the technical expertise and that coincide with the tally sheets received in the database of the National Electoral Council National Totalization Centers. This will guarantee that the integrity of the data has been maintained at all times by demonstrating 100% consistency of the same.
Likewise, on Sunday, the president of Pakistan, Asif Ali Zardari, addressed a letter to his counterpart of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, in which he recognized him as the winner of the July 28 presidential elections. The Pakistani head of state highlighted that the third consecutive victory of the Venezuelan president reflects the respect and confidence of the people in his leadership. Furthermore, Ali Zardari assured that both nations will continue on the path of cooperation and strategic alliances for the advancements and development of the bilateral relations between the countries. In Colombia, the National Liberation Army announced on Sunday the end of the armed strike in the department of Choco in the northwest of the nation. The decision was communicated by the Omar Gonzalez Western Warner Front of the National Liberation Army and made effective since 6 a.m. local time on Monday. The strike was decreed last July 11 due to an offensive against the Clan del Golfo and has affected several municipalities in the region, where, according to the local authorities, 45 to 50,000 people have been left confined and 3 people have died. In Manabí, western Ecuador, a couple was murdered on Sunday in broad daylight. Abroad public transportation as the country experienced a surge in violence in the last 72 hours. The crime was registered in the touristic city of San Vicente, located north of Manabí, and its perpetrators have yet to be apprehended. In the context of the current escalating wave of violence, another murder was committed in the central province of Los Rios, where the victim was shot 6 times by a cool shooter. Precisely, Los Rios has reportedly registered 160 homicides so far this year, which represent at least 2 murders a day. Let's take a very short break, but remember, you can now join us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. On Monday, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated negotiations between Hamas and Zionism are heading to failure. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said so the President of Israel, Isaac Herzog, as they met on Monday before the then encounter of Blinken with the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Washington used to be confident about reaching a solution earlier, but it has been frustrated as Israel has laid concerns high to the original proposal of Qatar, Egypt, and the United States. Blinken warned that Israeli president that perhaps they are facing the last change to save the hostages. And regarding the Palestinian resistance movement's rejection to the new proposal, in a new statement, Hamas called on the mediators to offer a concrete plan to implement the proposals agreed upon on July 2nd, emphasizing the need to avoid a continuous cycle of ill negotiations due to the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's delaying tactics and his new arbitrary conditions. Also in Palestine, medical authorities in the Gaza Strip reported that Israeli attacks on the Palestinian enclave have killed more than 3,000 people since the beginning of the Israeli genocide against the Palestinian people. The enclave's Ministry of Health also reported that since the beginning of the Israeli offensive, more than 92,000 people have been injured, while another 10,000 are missing. It is important to point out that civil defense teams and ambulances have difficulties to enter the areas affected by the clashes due to the prohibitions of the Israeli occupation forces, causing many victims to die due to the lack of medical assistance. The Hamas-Palestinian resistance movement welcomed the decision of the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, to prohibit the export of coal to the Israeli occupier. Hamas congratulated the president for his courageous stance in breaking off ties with the Zionist occupation to press Tel Aviv to stop the genocide in Gaza. Colombia used to be the largest supplier of fossil fuels to Israel in recent months. President Petro has harshly criticized the massacre carried out by the Zionist regime in the Gaza Strip. And the Syrian Foreign Ministry on Monday rejected the unilateral coercive measures imposed by the United States and the Western powers and described them as economic terrorism. In this sense, Syrian Foreign Ministry points out that these measures hinder the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals and have come to constitute economic terrorism and a weapon directed against the people. It's further explained that the effects of the punitive measures are multiplied in the case of Syria due to the hostile measures of the U.S. and its allies under the plundering of the country's natural wealth. And in Kuwait, disruption in fuel supplies at the power stations led to outages in the country's capital. The failure caused the shutdown of several generating units at the power station in Subiya and West Doha, as well as the installation plans. In this regard, the authorities report that the service restriction is necessary for the stability of the domestic electrical system. Therefore, they urge the population of Kuwait for the keeping up saving electricity in the next few hours. In the U.S., hundreds rallied in Chicago on Sunday ahead of the Democratic National Convention, which begins this Monday. Despite the growing popularity of U.S. Vice President and presidential candidate Kamala Harris, the shadow of protest over the Biden-Harris administration support for Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza hangs over the convention. Security has been stepped up for the fourth day gathering, with tens of thousands of people expected to descend on the city for the daily protests, the largest of which are scheduled for Monday and Wednesday. On Sunday, several hundred demonstrators gathered in downtown Chicago carrying a banner that read "Feminists and LGBTQ+ people are Free Palestine."
We want to let the Democrats know that their vote is not something that is a given from the people, it's something that is earned. They have to show us that they're here to support our interests and not that of their corporate donors.
Top of that, any rights activist, I don't care what field you are in, if you're not in solidarity with people of Gaza and Palestine right now while a genocide is going on, then you are totally bankrupt as a rights activist. You cannot be in favor of your own liberation if you're not in favor of other people's liberation.
And now we're moving on. Hurricane Ernesto approaches the U.S. and Canada as Category 1 storm. The U.S. National Hurricane Center showed that on its way to Bermuda, the cyclone reached Category 2, then downgrade to a tropical storm as it hits the island of Puerto Rico. In both territories, the climate event left serious flooding and strong power outages. As Ernesto continues its path toward North America, experts predict dangerous wave and rep currents on the coast of the United States and Canada. In Chad, local authorities report that more than 60 people died as a result of floods caused by torrential rains in the country. The rains in the northwest of the country caused floods in the mountainous areas where several rivers flowed before evaporating in the Sahara. The authorities urge to prepare a program of assistance to the inhabitants of the affected areas, including those difficult to access as a result of the floods. Experts warn that due to the effects of the climate phenomenon El Niño, several areas in West, East, and Southern Africa are suffering from heavy rains and severe droughts. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, at least 195 people lost their life after the heavy rains and floods registered from the month of July to the present. The report of the National Disaster Management Authority said that the rains have caused severe consequences, including 3,655 people injured and the destruction of more than 2,000 houses. The floods also damaged more than 44 kilometers of roads and 30 bridges throughout the country. Let's take our last break, but before that, we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our interviews, sub stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. My financial breakdown, go away. Welcome back. Russian troops have taken control of one of the localities in the northwest of Donetsk. The Office of the Ministry of Defense confirmed that the battalions commanded by Moscow are in control of the locality of Severodnovska. Additionally, these contingents called Centers Groups has fended up several Ukrainian attacks, defending the Kiev troops in such areas as Dolonikov, Kalanovo, and Pchir. In the skirmish, the Ukrainian troops have lost more than 500 uniformed personnel, 2 armored vehicles, and numerous weapons. The dispatch also confirms that the Al-Ashmara battalions repelled several waves of Ukrainian attacks in the Korch region, where they also reported heavy losses in the Ukrainian ranks. Belarusian Air Forces and Air Defense Forces Commander Andrei Lukanovishka ordered to strengthen the border with Ukraine. Lately, Minsk registered an upsurge in the reconnaissance fights from several NATO members countries. On average, between 30 and 40 flights are recorded daily near the two borders, in addition to 30 tactical aviation flights. Therefore, the General Commands of our forces ordered to skyrocket its armed components and air defense and electronic warfare. The Ministry of Defense has put a report up to 50 flights practicing combat attack tactics in the Kaliningrad province and in Belarus. In Thailand, the king appoints Paetongtarn Shinawatra as the Asian country's new prime minister 2 days after Parliament elected her, following the dismissal of Sarah Travis by order of the Constitutional Court. According to the local media, Shinawatra registered the written order from King Maha Vajiralongkorn to form a government in a ceremony held in Bangkok. In this regard, the new leaders announced that she will head a coalition government led by her party, put together with pro-military movements opposed to her father.
Dear fellow Thais, this great task cannot be achieved by the Prime Minister working alone. I hope to be able to coordinate the power of all generations, of all the talented people of Thailand from all fields.
A woman who never ever fails to deliver.
And now changing topics. Poland's Kasia Niewidoma won her first Women's Tour de France title by just 4 seconds on Sunday as she dug in during the race's grueling final Alpine season. For the third woman edition of the renowned cycle stage race, the 29-year-old cyclist reached the summit of the Alps Dutch mountain 1 minute 1 second behind reigning champion Demi de Vleuten from the Netherlands, thus maintaining her grip on the yellow jersey. Niewidoma stroked all on the Glenton Ascents, but managed to regroup and fall back in the final 5 kilometers to claim bad previous second. The Polish cyclist completed the 8-stage tour in 24 hours, 36 minutes and 7 seconds, emerged for second in front of the Vleuten, who finished in second place with Dutch rider Paulina Royakker completing the podium in third place, just 4 or 6 seconds behind.
To be honest, I've gone through such a terrible time on this climb. Like, I hated everything to then arriving at the finish line and learning that I won Tour de France, which is insane. It's so mind-blowing because there are so many people I'm really thankful and grateful for, starting with my husband, my family, my whole team, my coach Nate, who put a lot of work to prepare me for that, and quite often he's not really mentioned, so a big thank you for him, especially now. And again, my team, my husband, my family, my friends. Yeah, this victory goes to so many people that contributed to that victory.
We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram as well. For Telesur English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.